At one point, I had a sleep study done, and they suggested a CPAP machine. Now, they went through a number of iterations on the CPAP machine that they had given me, and that was almost as bad as not having it because I couldn't sleep with the CPAP machine. The facial hair prevented it from sealing correctly, and my wife couldn't sleep because of the noise from the machine. I travel for business sometimes. Now, a CPAP machine, I don't know if anybody's seen it. Anybody who has one realizes that it's about the size of a suitcase. And it's also a little bit uncomfortable going through airport security with it because they are going to open up your suitcase and say, "What is this thing?" It's a monstrosity and it's not handy to have. Uh, Additionally, it's no more effective than the sleep appliance is. Now, the sleep appliance is completely portable. It's convenient. Nobody looks at it twice, So it really is one of those things that just from a lifestyle perspective fits. After Dr. Soferman fitted me with the sleep appliance, one of the first things I noticed within a week, it took a day or two to get used to actually wearing the appliance, but it would take time to get used to anything. Certainly, it took longer to attempt to get used to CPAP. But after Dr. Soferman's sleep appliance, I noticed my jaw stopped clicking during the day. That was the first effect. Then the next thing I noticed, which was really key to me, was I didn't feel as tired during the day and I didn't wake up with a headache. And that's just tremendous.
Before I was diagnosed with sleep apnea, I'd wake up in the morning, I had terrible headaches. I was taking ibuprofen every day, probably twice a day. Um, my memory was terrible. I couldn't remember anything. And that's kind of, my wife is a nurse and she had spoken to a doctor about it. And that's how it came to me being tested for sleep apnea. Um, I went in, had a sleep study, and they said I had mild apnea at the time. Um, and they worked on getting me set up with a CPAP machine. When I first got my CPAP, it's a large unit. I found a place alongside the bed to place it. It's a little bit noisy. You have you hear the constant flow of air. Um, it I I tried putting it on. It's kind of like having a squid on your face. It's a very uncomfortable way to sleep. And I just couldn't tolerate it. I'd wake up in the middle of the night, the mask would be off running on the floor. Apparently I'd take it off in my sleep even. It just was not working out for me. The experience with Dr. Soferman was fantastic. I was in getting dental work done, and I think he probably saw just how tired I looked, and he asked me if I had ever been tested for sleep apnea. Um, and I told him that I did, and I had sleep apnea. He asked me if I had a machine. I told him I had a CPAP, but I just was unable to wear it. And then he mentioned the dental appliance. Um, and at that point, I was willing to try anything. I had to find something that worked. The dental appliance arrived the day before I left for vacation, and I brought it with me on vacation. My wife told me that first night I didn't snore at all. And I woke up, I actually felt good when I woke up on vacation. I wore it all week, and by the end of the week, I felt fantastic. Before I got the sleep appliance from Dr. Soferman, uh, I'd wake up in the morning and still be tired, go to work, and the day would just drag. You just feel lousy by the end of the day. Your work is suffering from it. When you don't sleep one or two nights, you can pull it off. When it's every day, your whole life suffers. My work suffered, my relationship with my wife. I've got 3 kids. You don't have the energy to play with them at the end of the day. Things are so much better for me now. It's working out fantastic.
The headaches, they really were unbearable. It would start off in the morning. It wasn't that bad, but then as the day progressed, I was in school, all the lights, and just even a slight movement like walking, it would just feel like my head was just getting squished together. And oh, by the end of the day, I just wanted, sleep wouldn't help, nothing would help. So I would just suffer. It was really, really bad. Now that I have the oral device and it helped me, I mean, I'm more positive. I'm not dragging. I'm not last in the group. I'm always upbeat now. I have more sleep, so because of the oral device that Dr. Silverman gave me. I'm blessed. It was amazing. If it wasn't for the staff or any of the help, my jaw would probably be worse, and I'd be at a neurologist right now taking pills that I don't need to. So it was really great. It was really great. Anyone who has TMJ, anyone who thinks they just have a minor headache, it's really probably a bigger problem, and you should really go see Dr. Silverman. The oral appliance is great, and it'll do wonders to your life.
I started getting headaches when I was 5, and it would be shooting pain like right through the temple, the front of the head, and he started to work with me, and just the work that Dr. Silverman was doing just seemed to help, and slowly they got better, less frequent, less pain, and now rarely will I get one, and it's just so much better. Before, it would impact my life at school, my life at home, my social life with my friends. Like on the weekends, I had to come home early and whatever because I would have just like shooting pain through my head. And now I can go back to doing the things I love physically. I can hang out with my friends. I can go and do sports. And just all that has just come back into my life, and it's so amazing. Before, I would see tons of doctors. They would all prescribe medications, all these drugs, and they would all just interact with each other, and it just made it 10 times worse. And then I came to see Dr. Silverman, and it was all very natural, all massage therapy, relaxation techniques, and it all worked very well. And I'm just so much better now. So just come down to see Dr. Silverman, and he will not give up on you, and he will just keep trying and try all these different things, but without using drugs and medication. So just come down and see him.